Hey guys, so in the previous lecture, we saw a very small Hello World example on how to create our first React application on CodePen.io. Now in this lecture, what we will do is, we will extend that example to add some dynamic properties onto our React application. After all, we want to see the power that React brings on the table before we actually adopt to it, right? So let's do that. So the first thing that you see is, you see a hello world. Now what if I need to display my name saying hello Abhay? In that case, it's very easy to write. All I have to do is, let's create an element or a function which is constant, let's say user is equals to, you can give the first name, let's say Abhay, comma, last name, let's say Talreja. Now we have a first name and the last name. Let's write a small function saying format name, and here it will just use the same user element, which is return user dot first name plus, of course we'll add some space, and then we'll do a user dot last name. That's it. Now what we will do is, instead of this hello world, what we can write is, we can write a paragraph or a, let's say h1 tag itself. But to use this dynamically, or the format name, it is very easy. What we will do is, we can just say a curly bracket, and instead of giving in something else, what we can do is format name as a function, and voila, the name appears. All you had to do was call the function from within the brackets, and there your name goes. So all we are doing is calling format name. Format name will actually return the first name and the last name, which we have it in our object, which is coming dynamically. So let's say if I want to update my name as Abhay2, in that case, the same code will refresh, and you can see everything got refreshed here. So that was very easy on how we displayed the name with the format name and React. And now we added a dynamic property called name or a format name so that the name gets displayed on the screen. How about let's add some more dynamic content. So let's say we clear this whole thing out here and we write something fresh, because I want to show you from scratch. So let's say we write a function called a tick. Now in this function, what we will do is, we will first create our element, which is the HTML element that we need to display. So add the brackets, and once you do that, go on to the next line and just give another div. Now this div is just to make sure that we have all our contents within a closed div. Now we can use something called as an h1 and close the h1. Now once we give the h1, what we can write is hello world, because we were still doing the hello world. Now let's add something dynamic. Let's say I want to add the time, or the current time that I see right now. I need to make sure I print it out. It is very easy in JavaScript as well as in React. So let's say in h1, what I can say it is, and I need to give something dynamic out here. So what I will do is, I'll just give a new date, and when I give new date, it has to be in the brackets. So let me make sure I do that. Once I do a new date, what I can do is, I can do a to locale time string. What this will give me is the current local time. Now what we can do is, we can render the React DOM from within the function itself. Let me show you. So React DOM dot render. Now we are in the function, and so we already have our element as well. So what I can do is, I can use the element itself. So I don't need to give any HTML, and my HTML is element out here, which is the div with the h1 and the h2 tag. Once I do that, I need to make sure I update the document dot get element by ID and pass in the root. Now we need to make sure that our tick function or our time gets displayed every 1 second, or gets updated. So the way we can do that is, we can use the set interval method which JavaScript provides us. So let's do a set interval. Once we get the set interval, all we need to do is pass the tick function. Once we pass the tick function, we can tell the time that it needs to update with. Let's say 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. And voila, as you can see on the screen, the time starts ticking. Now let's quickly do a view source and see what happens. So let me go here and let me go here. So now you can see the entire page is constant, nothing changes. The only thing that changes is the time, which means React only updates things that are needed to be updated, and it doesn't change anything in the page, which means when you have the real DOM that updates or what you see, you only update one element. And how do you manage that? When you have a virtual DOM, so React updates the virtual DOM using the JavaScript, and the JavaScript lets the real DOM updates by itself. So the user doesn't see anything else except those elements getting updated. So that is the power that React brings onto the table. I hope these small 2-3 examples gives you a little idea on the power and the potential that React has got. Of course, the big framework or the big libraries that are supported with React is countless, and definitely it makes your life as a programmer very easy. So I'll see you in the next class.